Welcome back to O'Brien Design. And in this video, this is going to be a continuation of the previous video where we were making a catchy thumbnail for our YouTube video. And I got to thinking, you don't necessarily have to split the screen the way that we did last time. Last time we split the screen from the left side to the right side. But we could also split the screen from the top to bottom. So we could create something that fills that space down at the bottom and our text could be up here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other thumbnails on some other YouTube channels that I like. So this is a YouTube channel that I frequent, but I do like that the 2-color font for the best free DAWs down here. If you look at the 2-color font, and he's got some musical symbols too, which I don't know if that was needed, but it looks good. Plus up here, here's what I was talking about. If you look at this one, a better way to EQ up here, if you notice, it's split from top to bottom rather than left to right. And we'll drag in our YouTube. Okay, here's the YouTube. Bring it in, we do a Control C, Control V, Control mouse wheel to scroll out so I can see all 4 corners of it. And let's bring it down. Now, this is the question. How far do we bring it down? Do we bring it all the way down? Do we keep it large? Because what I want to do is I want to do something like that. But does that make it too difficult to tell that that's the YouTube logo? Can we put text on top of that? Like I said, stuff like this can prove to be difficult. It's very busy. Now, I'm not sure that I would be able to tell that that is the YouTube logo. But it is catchy. So what could I do here? Now, here was one that I wanted to show you for the other one, and I might as well do it here. What we can do, and this is we use the whole busy image. Okay, let's go ahead and lock that. And let's take our rectangle and let's draw in a black bar. Okay. And let's turn it down to about 75. So that gives us a kind of a charcoal gray. We can tighten it up. I'm going to turn my snap on. I don't have my snap on. There's my snap. Okay. Now, is this going to take away from the YouTube logo? Well, we'll see. Okay. The other thing we could do is we could do this again. We could do something like this, right? And let's bring our black rectangle up, right? That looks kind of funky, but it might look good with a shadow. Okay. Or, you know what I'm gonna do? I can't not do it. I'm gonna go left to right again. So I'll have to make another video on how to do top to bottom. But I'm not even sure that that would work. So let me stick to my original plan. My original plan was, and I'm just doing Control Z to go back to where I was. My original idea was this. Let me finish. So let's go back into the first one and let's grab our title. How to create a thumbnail. And we'll do a Control J and that duplicates it and we'll bring it up here. Okay. And let's turn those white. So what we could do is we could do what that other image for the last video, we can do that kind of a type treatment. So I don't know if you remember in the last video, we pulled this up a little earlier, but we could do this kind of a type treatment. So this font is a little smaller, and this is where we could do stand out, and then we can put something even smaller with Affinity Designer under here. And we can do it because this is a busy background, and this works as a whole cohesive piece. I think it looks great. And we could do that with our YouTube here. So what I would do is I would drop this way down, and right now it's 130. So maybe we drop it down to 90. Okay. And we drag it across. And we do stands out. I kind of liked the caps. Stands out. And maybe we do the whole thing in cap. Let's take a look here. Well, that's going to prove difficult at the top there, won't it? Where it all fits in here. And we can center it. And I think we need to make the stands out. We just make it as big as it'll fit. Okay. And this is what I was saying, that maybe we move our rectangle and our text downward here. Okay. And maybe we can fudge our YouTube icon, which is locked. Unlock it, and we move it upward so you can see the triangle of YouTube. Okay, and what we can do is we can take our rectangle and take it off the page, but we drop it here. Now see, that isn't necessarily awful. That is kind of good. How to create a thumbnail that stands out. So here's a little pro tip. If you're dealing with a font and you want to use that font, and we want to stick with Trebuchet, but it doesn't come in a condensed version, what you can do is that's what this is over here. You take your horizontal scale, and I wouldn't recommend going below 70. So let's do that. If we go to, yeah, that's even a little tight for me. I'm going to go 80 there. And that allows me to pop up my stands out. A little bit, oh no, I'm just changing. I was changing my kerning or my tracking. Okay, so that way we have something that stacks on top of each other. Let's give them some distance from top to bottom so they're not on top of each other completely. Okay, so you grab your text. And you center it up by using your buttons up here. And then we can just drag it back down. Now, I want to make thumbnail, how to create a thumbnail that stands out. I want to make that as big as I possibly can get it without it being too stuffed in there. And now we're at 116, 100. Let's try to hit 120. Okay, let's drop our leading down. Give it some space, top to bottom. Breathing room. Okay. And remember, in the last video, we talked about that gentleman's video, how he says, make it a little alluring. And I don't know about you, I would look at that and I would say, what is that red and white thing? And it would take me a minute and I'd be like, oh, Oh, that's the YouTube logo. Cool. Okay, another thing you can do is scroll out. That's about how it's going to look on the page. Probably something like that. Okay. Now, I don't know about you. I can see the YouTube. It's standing out. Now, what I can do is I can maybe stretch it. You can stretch things just a little bit without it looking too bad. And you can bring that up, and then we can stretch it just a little bit more, but you don't want to overstretch, because if you do that, it's going to look wonky. So you just stretch it a little bit, and we can probably stretch it here a little bit, even out the edges. So yeah, I think that if we scroll out, I can see the YouTube logo. And again, that gentleman talked about having a little mystery, a little intrigue to pull someone in. And maybe this will do that. But I wanted to show you a video of not just slicing the space, your thumbnail, left to right or right to left, whichever. I've seen it both ways. But also slicing it top to bottom. A pretty decent little thumbnail. I would use that, and I may use that. I may use it for something else down the road. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a part 2 and apparently a part 3. I hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Okay, thanks for stopping by, and you take care.